I would be lying if my heart ain't heavy. I done lost so many people, feel the pain when the mind ain't ready. So I bow down and run to the king. He said, Harry, let me be honest, you come with me, you gon' go through some things. Through this pain, I discovered the truth. I had died in the flesh. When I speak, my testimony is proof. Legendary when I spit conflict. Best believe me when I tell you that they ain't spitting no bars like this. Dear mama, it's your son right now. When I was misguided and misled, it was your spirit that showed me how. Man up and put it all on the chin. Stand strong and be humble, the spirit of God above all men. God has commanded me to learn all 10. When I walk, I don't just talk the blood of my people, it speaks through my pen. Walk the open road that journeys within. Through the hunger set aside from the pain that creates my sin. Learning life, you only lose in the win. I've been walking through the dark, I'm trying to see it through a clear view lens. Enemies I used to call my friends. When I learned a valuable lesson in life that people love to pretend. Bite the hand people love to extend. Though we started at the bottom, we'll be headed to the top when it ends. Break the chain that holds in my rage. I'm the lion you can't tame. I'm the beast that you just can't cage. From the cradle till there's dirt on my grave, I'll be standing in the shadows abundantly as I pray with the slaves. Walk a million miles with blood on my shoes. If I never knew love, I'd never have a situation to lose. When hearts get heavy.
When hearts get heavy, heavy, heavy.
I would be lying if the truth wasn't in me. I ain't worried about the gossip, I'm a prophet, so it doesn't offend me. Few are chosen in the land of many. Come to men, the broken hearted, sending love through the pain in my city. Throw up your praise if you rockin' it with me. On a mission, God has sent me with a message, so they'll never forget me. Mad love, yo, but I ain't friendly. See the devil coming, I fall to my knees and let the spirit defend me. See, there's pressure with every word I speak, taking me to another peak. Living accountability, spiritual is my destiny. Devil won't get the best of me. Lyrics flowing so heavily. Destination is heavenly, drifting upon a melody. Dealing with what they telling me. Won't these demons just let me be? Living up in this poverty, taking me where depression be. Every day like it's drowning me. Fighting to keep my head up. I'm setting spiritual boundaries. Maybe because I'm fed up. On a mission and witness to witness this benediction. Repented, I paid dues while walking through mental prison. The Father, I pray you listen and working on my condition and keep me covered in blood. I'm dug in my transition and journey my way through Michigan just to put my petition in. One of the coldest ever to do it. I pray you listen and the stars fall, we shine together. No matter the endeavor, put in work like it's now or never. Broke the pen just to write this letter. We can speak 1,000 words, yet the fact remains that actions are better. Broke in the ghetto just to hang with the slums. Heard a knock upon my door, that's how it is when opportunities come. Learn to never switch on my day ones. Had a snake watching my plate, that's how I learned about recoupable funds. Living to die because the world ain't ready. Dirty or early on the journey, my condolences. When hearts get heavy. Journey my way to Michigan.
When hearts heavy, heavy, heavy.
When hearts get heavy.
Everybody hands up, don't shoot. Mike Brown gets the 21 salute. Black hoodie in my black Tim boots. Kente spirit in my blood like roots. I'm like Kizzy, never need a missy. Make them all dizzy as I lead them haters pissy. Never fall cause I stand for something. A strong black queen who ain't dying for nothing. Black lives matter, here comes the blood splatter. Bodies on the gurney like a food platter. Signs in the air as we gather. I'ma take a knee and it'll never be the latter. I have questions cause we looking for answers. Why you killing off my people like cancer? How you fearing for your life and his back turned? Knees on his neck and how you not concerned? Why you pop him like that with his kid in the car? With a seatbelt he couldn't get far. Why you scared for your life with the cops around? How you shoot him while he pinned to the ground? I need answers for the people in the back.
Hey, I'm give me your motherfucking hands. Watch out. I'm gonna baton the fuck out you. Hit the fucking hands. Watch out. Watch out.
See us, all you see is black. Cause when you see us, all you see is black. We fade the black. We fade the black.
I still got a dream of a Martin Luther King. Them people trying to box us in like a boxing ring. What's the cure to hate? I wish I had the antidote. Maybe these words will help like Maya Angelou. Don't want you to be a leader, that's why they kill Hampton. They watching every move you make and they still camping. I need to go to the White House cause I need real answers. You hating on me cause I'm black, that's a real cancer. I just wanna be great like I was Ali. Police clutching on their gun when they stop me. I got my hands up how I become a body. They hate Kaepernick took a knee, this country toxic. We need to join together, then go make a protest. What about the reparations that they owe us? Or all the history in Africa that was stolen? You mean to tell me God look like Alec Baldwin? I can't do it by myself, I'm trying to touch the people. Black pride, black love, yeah, it's all equal. I'm a real life king, so that's how I act. Pass this crown to the culture, then I fade to black. Yeah. We fade to black. We fade to black. I gotta fade to black.
Why is it that there's a gun shop on almost every corner in this community? Why? Tell you why. For the same reason that there's a liquor store on almost every corner in the black community. Why? They want us to kill ourselves. You go out to Beverly Hills, you don't see that. Why is it that there's a gun shop on almost every corner in this community? Why? Tell you why. For the same reason that there's a liquor store.
What up, though? Thank you guys for joining. I so appreciate the two gentlemen that is in the green room getting ready to come up. I appreciate that. Thank you. They were on time. They were on point. They actually confirmed ahead of time, said they would be here. They are serious about actually sharing their heart, giving, information that we need for us as a community to come together and understand men relations with women, whatever it may be, men relations with the police, men relations in America. And I totally appreciate that because I am trying. Okay, like I said, Protect Black Women is my most popular series. And one is Sisters Come. You they be on time, and it be a bunch of them that be ready to get up in the screen and share their heart. Okay, I just no shade, but I am sipping some tea. I just had to put that out there. Okay. So that is one of the biggest differences that I see since I have been working to try to put this series together. It is hard to get men together or to even come onto the platform. But I respect the ones that are here, and hopefully, I did have confirmation that Mr. Hawk Newsome, president of Black Lives Matter in New York, did say that he would come, he would join if things had. Well, I got my phone just in case, he texts a sister or he reaches out in the DM. So I will be looking for that. But if he does not, that does not stop this show because there is so much information that I have, that I studied, that I would love to hear from these brothers and how they feel. So I am extremely excited. Okay. Thank you. I have another brother that is in the green room joining. Guys, please put your name and where you currently reside so that people could know, what city, state that you're in. And that also helps in understanding that demographic when it comes to what we're discussing. Okay. All right. So anyone that is out there that is watching, please, join. And thank you. Oh, yes. The Only Statement is watching on IG. Pastor Tracy is watching on IG. Thank you so much, ladies, for watching and joining. I totally appreciate y'all. So I am streaming on IG. I am on Facebook, and I am also on YouTube. Okay, so let's get it cracking with the first person. And I know my head is big. I know I got my other camera on because this the good camera now. This the camera when you discussing some things. You know what I'm saying? You got some guests on here that you got to put the good camera on. No, I'm just kidding. So without further ado, let me bring these gentlemen up. Starting with Marky D. Thank you so much for joining. I totally appreciate you. Let me give you an applause for joining at this present time. Let's see if we can hear an air horn, applause, something. Okay, I guess it's not working. It's all good. I got some other stuff
I can't get
connected.
I can't get the Arsenio joint thing.
Like the last. Oh, I see what happened. I get it. Okay, yeah, like the last one you was on, you had applause, everything. Okay, thank you so much. Please, I'm going to get the other gentleman up, and then you guys can, let people know who you are, where you from, and what you're doing. Okay. Okay, so the next one is Julian. Thank you so much, Julian, for and thank you.
How you
Julian from
doing?
Chicago. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to bring the next gentleman up, and then you can discuss where you are, who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing. All right. Author Ricky Boone in the building. Thank you so much for showing some love and coming on. I'm really excited because if nothing else, all three of you guys are different men, intelligent men. I am really waiting to hear conversation from all of you guys because I know this is about to be good. So if nobody else shows up, I know y'all about to hold it down. So thank you. So starting with Marky D, where are you from and what are you doing at this present time in your life? Do you do anything community wise? What is it that you're contributing to the Black community, as well as, you know, if you want to discuss what your career is and everything?
Um, um, my name is Mark Markela. I call myself Mark business wise, so it'll be easier for you guys to pronounce my name. So my business name that I go by is Mark. You already know, you know me as Marky.
Yeah.
That's child. But I'm from Flint, Michigan. You know, born and raised. Um,
Where are
I
you
am
currently living?
I am residing in Tennessee, Clarksville,
Okay.
Tennessee,
Okay.
where I am both a master barber of 15 years, and I am also a certified barber instructor of 7 years. And
Awesome.
my contribution uh, to our community is based on the history that I learned from barbering. Also, being a young kid who used to go to the barber shops within our community, where then in the 80s, early 80s to mid 80s, where our elders held things down in our community and were pillars in our community. And it was basically a known rule to give back in our community. And any child within our community was both favored and taken care of within the community. So from that, in my experience, in my history as a child, now to an adult, that has stuck with me. And now I'm perpetuating that experience, now my life story as a
Awesome.
mentor, contributor to the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What a great introduction. And you know, I love what you're doing. I already told you that. Do me a favor and please add where you are from so that during the duration of this show, not where you're from, but where you're at currently residing, Markela, put that in your name display so that during this, as far as demographic wise, people can connect and relate to where you are located. So just do that for me as we continue. Thank you. Julian from the Shy. I remember you as a shorty back in the day.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
are grown now. And what I can say right now is that you were one of my employees back in the day, and you were very young. You started working at a very young age, and you were always someone who was very reliable and respectful. So I just wanted to put that out there because just so you guys know, I have not seen this gentleman in double digit years. So
yes. It's been a while.
it
It's
has
been a
been a
while.
while. So please let the audience know what it is. Why did you even, decide not seeing me in over double digit years? I guess you still trust my character for you to
Yeah,
jump on.
yeah,
But
yeah.
why what connected you to the topic, and what are you doing to contribute in the community as far as what's going on with you right now?
Okay, well, my name is Julian Coleman, and I'm from Chicago, the south side of Chicago, but I live in the suburbs. I don't live in the city. That was like my younger days. I'm 32 years old, and I met Nessa when I was 16. Yeah, I was about 16 years old at the time. So so time has went by. I'm a father now and everything. So like, you know, and I currently work for the railroad. I've been working here for about like 7 years. I'm a machine operator. I'm at work right now.
Awesome.
So and I got a venom. I started my own venom machine company probably about like 2 years ago, and right now I only got them at rail yards. So I'm just trying to progress at that. It's been real good for me, and it was pretty much one of the best decisions I've made so far, as far as like business aspect, and in my adult life. But as far as like what I contribute, currently, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a part of any type of like organization or anything like that, but the only thing I could say is I always try to educate somebody younger than me. That's pretty much what I always do. I read a lot of books. I dive into history a lot, so I feel like that's important because when ignorance is bliss. When you lack knowledge, like it's a lot of stuff that I feel like you would have a better understanding of life if you start gaining the history, like the real history of our people, and to understand why society is the way that it is currently. And what caught my interest, was when I looked into the platform and I was reading it, it was saying, discussions about the relationship between black men and police, in America. And I feel like that my experience is, it really reflect on how I feel about police in general. So, I guess, when we get further into that topic, then
Yeah,
I'll be able to
yeah.
give my opinion. But, so that's really why I joined, because like I feel like that it's important. And I just think the more you know, the better you will be able to navigate yourself, especially as a black man within this country. So,
Thank you.
I just try to keep pushing the issue of read, try to gain
Yeah.
knowledge. Like that's the best way. That's the best way.
Well, that what a good segue, because speaking of reading, and thank you so much, Julian. That was amazing. I am so excited that we have reconnected. And just so you know, he's being modest. He has some dope beats. He's been producing at a very early age since high school or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, since high
So
school. Yeah.
so he's dope in the music as well. However, I want to bounce off to what he was saying about reading. Reading is important. Continuing your self education, whatever it may be, is important in learning. And the next person that is coming up, and just so you know, guys, I'm going to control the mute mic. But please pay attention to the mute mic just in case you have to speak or you want to speak, but it helps with interference. The next gentleman is author Ricky Boone, and he is also, which I am excited to have on this platform, a man of God who is someone that is you are a pastor, right?
No, I'm just an elder.
Okay, he's an elder. That's listen, that's even more important. So thank you, elder and author, Mr. Ricky Boone. You are no you have been on the platform, so you are not you've been on physical platform. He actually was a part of the Let's Whine About It when we did that in Michigan on the panel physically, and him and his wife was also on Let's Whine About It for our couples convo. So thank you so much for joining. I totally appreciate it. Now I just want to ask you, like, what piqued your interest in being a part of this topic for this episode, as well as, well, I already know your contributions, but I would like you to speak on who you are, where you're from, and your contributions and everything else you would like to discuss briefly.
Oh well, yeah, my name is Ricky Boone. I'm from Saginaw, Michigan, and I was born and raised in Grand Rapids, but pretty much I've been majority of my life here. I've been here now for probably about 7, 8 years, and so my thing is my intake on it, is I just like dealing with youth, people in general, especially our black people. So I'm all for like young men and young women, especially like brother said something about dealing with our generation, dealing with our black community. I'm most definitely for souls and spiritual and stuff like that. I study that type of stuff, but at the same time, our black people. I got 5 sons, so I'm most definitely I pour off into them. I do it in my books. I do it in my spoken word. I do a lot of that with spoken word, my books. I go out places and speak and everything. My whole goal basically is to open the eyes of our generation, dealing with our youth, most definitely, because we blinded by the streets. And so my thing is that I like to use myself as an example because I did the gang bang stuff. I did the selling of drugs and stuff. And basically, you can turn over a whole new leaf and redirect yourself. And, what I'm saying? If you could come from the streets and just change your whole life, what I'm saying? I mean, anybody can do it. I look at it like, man, you can be a dope dealer, drug head, whatever. What I'm saying? It's always not too late, so to turn over a new leaf and, what I'm saying, to redirect your whole path. So I like to pour that off into like the generation I write about it, whether it's fictional stories or is it's, facts or whatever. So my whole intake, man, is just, I mean, work as much as you can, man, especially strengthening our community because we the only race of people that don't stick together. Like I said before, I tell my sons, I said the Chinese got a community, the Arabs got a community, they stick together, the Latinos got a community that stick together, but us, what do we have? So I'm most definitely trying to pour that off into us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we will get a little bit later on as you look at the clips and want to discuss, you can discuss more about all three of you guys discuss more about anything that is you're connected to in some of these videos that we'll be watching, as well as some of the different factual things that I am going to share, which, whew, man, which might be triggering, but it's necessary. I did have a extensive amount of men who had said that they would come on tonight. So hopefully they will chime in. But if not, once again, I thank you guys for joining and coming on. So we'll start with the first clip. And keep in mind, this is more of about mental health for this episode. So we're going to keep our focus more on what can we do to improve mental health. Oh, I hear interference. Sorry. What we can do more to improve mental health in our community. And it always, because of me being a traditional woman, I totally believe that it starts with the head of household, which will always, for me, be a man. If I'm in a relationship or if I have a family, I do believe that the structure of the household starts with the man. And even though we make decisions together, I still feel that it's important for us to consider the true structure of how things should be broken down. So with that being said, that's why Black men and mental health is our first part of this series. Okay. And we will be discussing how the police relations, as well as even the government, plays a huge role in why so many men are experiencing a lot of strife and just, just a lot of different health issues and mentally, physically, or whatever it may be, anxiety and depression. And so that is what the discussion is. And hopefully a lot of women will watch this and understand that it is important, and take away all of that black men versus black women thing and really pay attention, so that we can also figure out and find out how we can support and help the men in our communities with whatever it is going on with them. Um, that's just how it's supposed to work for me. So thank you guys, and we'll start with the first video. And from there, if you don't know, we watch a video clip. Sometimes I'll just skim through it, and then we'll have a discussion on the clip, and then I'll have also some questions as far as on the banner that I will put up. Okay, that's how this works. So let's go.
Police violence harms entire communities. Did you know police killings of unarmed Black citizens directly impact the mental health of other Black people? A 2018 Boston University study estimated that police killings could cumulatively result in 55 million days of poor mental health for the roughly 44 million Black people living in the U.S. at that time. A 2021 study from 5 U.S. states found that there was an 11% rise in Black Americans seeking treatment for depressive symptoms in the months following a police killing of an unarmed Black person in their county. The collective societal trauma of police brutality can have documented physical consequences as well. In some communities, aggressive policing has been associated with increased instances of high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma attacks, and obesity. Police aren't just a danger to individuals, they can put entire communities at risk. And that's not an accident. It's baked into the system. When we talk about police violence, the problem is often perceived as a few bad apples behaving out of line or acting on their own internal biases. The problem with that mindset is that it puts the responsibility solely on individual police officers, rather than addressing the structural issue of a policing system that's racist at its core. Policing, as we know it in the States, revolves around profiling and criminalizing entire communities. The same way one victim of police violence can affect the health and well-being of an entire community, one bad apple can be representative of a larger issue of corruption that must be rectified if we want to live in a more equitable world.
Okay. So, it's these videos and these clips. I know we've seen them since even before 2020. And I know that it never gets easy, but like I said, this is a necessary discussion. So the first thing that I want to discuss after seeing that video, and this will be discussed throughout the show, is Black codes. Okay. I'm pretty sure that you probably have heard of this. And if you haven't, I also want to educate the audience that's watching. This is what's happening, and this is what this video, the first video, actually was more showing. And let me listen, I need to put my auntie glasses on. Okay. No. So I'm going to read this because I had to break it up. But the roots of Jim Crow laws began as early as 1865, immediately following the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery in the United States. Black codes were strict local and state laws that detailed when, where, and how formally enslaved people could work, or how much compensation, and for how much compensation. The codes appeared throughout the South as a legal way to put Black citizens into indentured servitude, to take voting rights away, to control where they live and how they traveled, and to seize children for labor purposes. The legal system was stacked against Black citizens, with former Confederate soldiers working as police and judges, making it difficult for African Americans to win court cases and ensuring they were subject to Black codes. These codes worked in conjunction with labor camps for the incarcerated, where prisoners were treated as enslaved people. Okay, so going back to this, as you can see, of course, Black Code started even as early as Jim Crow, so even before Jim Crow, but this was when they were setting up the foundation of how they wanted the structure of Jim Crow to be. And from this, taken away from this, you see that they have constantly been trying to put together a force of people to control us in the legal system. So a lot of people think that and we should have police, or we should have some type of structure of moral, of people that are moral, people that can help us into making sure that we continue to live and do things the way that we should do them in society, because not everybody's going to do what's right. Okay, we do know that. However, Black codes still exist. That's what I want to discuss. Okay. Some people don't agree with that. Some people, I've had conversations with people that's like, you study bringing up Jim Crow, that was 60, 70 years ago. What? Okay, that's another conversation. So from that video to what I just said about Black codes, and talking about more of the system of how they structure Black codes, do you think, this is the question for you guys, do you think that we as Black Americans can, and Black men for sure, can ever have equal footing in America? Is there ever a way, ever a system that can be that can be restructured or reconstructed for us to be able to have equal footing in this country? I'm going to start with Markayla on this. Do you think that we could ever have any equal footing in America if there was a reconstruction?
We've said it over the years on different platforms, different outlets. Hell, even in comedy, it won't start until we all come together first, because it's our backyard, front and backyard. You dig? I mentioned about what I'm doing in my life, stemming from where I came from, and where I came from is the example. You dig? So even though we were still under the lineage of Jim Crow, the new Jim Crow, we still are under the lineage of a system that is meant to keep us down. But we know this. So I would say the main tool for us to use is knowing that we have to come together as a people. There's no, we know the history of all the individuals. They're dead and gone. And the ones that are alive, they're the frauds that won't. So it's left up to us. So the answer is us as a people, in order for the community to thrive and come together.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. So, Julian, America was built on Jim Crow. How can we change our approach? How can we change our approach to the system so we can build better relationships with one another? That was one of the things that Markayla said, And that is true. We have to clean our house first before we can even gain any respect with anyone else. But this Jim Crow law still, it's the new Jim Crow, which we'll also discuss later on in the show. Um, of course, we have to break down some systems in order to build some systems, but we're talking about in our house. What can we do to build better relationships with each other, and as it pertains to start building a better system in our community?
I mean, if I'm going to be like completely honest, like I truly believe that like I can agree with what he was saying, like we have to come together, but anything of anything of that nature will more than likely result in some type of, I don't want to say really, I guess, violence.
Say it. This,
We,
listen,
you know,
this is insane. We talk this way. You go
like
ahead.
it's going to result in some shape or form of violence, because if we come together as a people, the entire system don't work. Like
Uprising.
like everything would not work. Like even when you discussed with the Jim Crow laws and them controlling the whole system from them being police and the judges and you know if you look into history, this country was literally built like on black people, like literally, and all fashions,
Hmm.
and even we're not even going to talk about the inventions, but just in general, like the labor, the money system, everything does not work without black people. So it's like the moment history show it that the moment that we try to come together as a collective, they result with violence. It's always violence. So it's like, I hate to be the person to say it, but I'm pretty sure other people think what I'm thinking. Like it's
Hmm.
it's really like you gotta agree with Malcolm X on certain things, like because that's the only way. Like unfortunately, when you look into human history, just human history alone, the only way you make another man respect you is with violence. That's human history, right? That has nothing to do with my opinion. Like that's just human history. So it's like I just really feel like because it's the miseducation of the Negro. We got to teach everybody. We got to educate everybody. The moment that you do that, it's gonna be a problem. That's the sole reason why they don't educate us with none of this stuff. Like
Hmm.
that. That's why. Because why educate somebody that you want to keep in shackles? Why do that? So it's like if when you start to read and start to understand the history and realize that if we were, I kind of you know it'd be that'd be a dangerous day, because if we were to really come together, none of this in the system work.
That'll be the
Don't work.
modern Nat Turner, a true uprising. Thank you so much, Julian. I appreciate your mind for that, and I appreciate you, Markela. So the next question is going to go to Mr. Boone. And Mr. Boone, what is the difference between a healthy ego and unhealthy ego in men? And, honestly, I am really talking about a healthy ego and unhealthy ego in Black men, because this is what we're discussing right now and trying to see how we can, build better relations. So, what is the difference between a healthy ego and unhealthy ego in men?
Mm. Wow, man. Could you elaborate a little bit?
So like toxic masculinity, which I actually, if you would like, because I did add that to the banner, and if you want me to get more into that so that can assist, then we could do that. So what I did, I studied a little bit about the traits of toxic masculinity, and let me hold on. You know, I got to put the auntie glasses on, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. The traits of toxic masculinity: suppress emotion, assert dominance, defend your masculinity when threatened, use violence to prove your masculinity, and exert power and control. Men who conform to toxic masculinity norms are much more likely to engage in violence against women. Now, this is what I want to say. Okay. Um, some of these are not unhealthy to me as far as the things that I said. This is what society says are traits of toxic masculinity. I don't believe in suppressing emotion, but that is, I know, a big thing in Black men. Um, Asserting dominance. I think that that can be healthy. Defend your masculinity when threatened. I think that can be healthy, and I don't feel like that's a unhealthy ego unless it's used, you know, in the wrong way. Um, so that's what I'm saying. What, you know, you being a very spiritual man and understanding yourself as far as um more so than, you know, being able to just understand who you are as a man on a spiritual level, on a physical level, and having to balance that. I want to know what, because that's what it stems from. Ego is really big in men and women in what in society, but it is a difference from healthy ego and unhealthy ego, and some men need to hear that, because we're talking about mental health, and that does affect mental health.
Well, my thing is that you got to learn when to engage and when to unengage. My thing is that learn to remove yourself from certain situations. Because speaking from experience with myself, you know, being off into the martial arts, I learned to like balance certain things and learn to like choose my surroundings very wisely and to observe, saying certain, people that I be around. Um, and learn to have a clear mind. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like the Bible says, evil communications corrupt good manners. The people you hang around, you be around them so long, or if they toxic, a little bit of that'll rub off on you, and you'll end up moving and walking and talking in the same way that they move. I mean, because I believe in spiritual soul connection, soul ties rather.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing and my intake on that is like, man, to like pretty much like make some of us have to reprogram ourselves, because sometimes, man, like those triggers and dealing with the ego trip and all that type of stuff comes from our upbringing, and sometimes we don't have to become a product of our environment. You can break those type of chains, and and just learn to disengage certain things that you was brought up with, and learn how to redirect yourself, and rediscover yourself, and just basically like live the best way that you can, and the best of your knowledge, and learn to, just learn your surroundings and learn people, you know. Like especially being a black man, I would like to say, man, being a black man has got to be like one of the hardest things. You know what I'm saying? I experienced, and can't nobody tell you, how to move, how to operate, and or how to think and nothing like that. Because sometimes being a black man, we are forced to move the way we move. We are forced to think the way we think because of the environment that we be in. I mean, we can't take off the color of our skin and put on something else. We got to live this thing every single day, as a black man. So when we we end up engaging with people, sometimes, man, I can honestly say, and I'm speaking for myself, people may not understand the way you talk, the way you move, the way you even, uh, 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 basically speak, and you conversate. Because I've been at work environments. I work in Bay City, and I'm like the only black person at my job, to be totally honest. And so when I'm up in there, if I get frustrated, the way I talk, sometimes they look at it as a threat, and I don't be really, coming off aggressive, but the way my language is, the way I talk, they like, oh my God, you need to go talk to him. And they'll send other people to come talk to me, like, well, I heard you was upset. I'm like, no, I'm not upset. This is the way I talk, and people may not understand that, especially dealing with, Caucasians and whatnot, but you know, you just gotta learn to stand your ground. And me personally, I don't change for nobody. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna accept me for what I am and how I move, because that's just me. Then as a black man, I'm very dominant on how I speak and how I talk. I was taught to speak bold as a black man. I was taught to, walk with my head up and look at another man in the eye when I speak. Because when a person speaks to you and they can't give you eye contact, that shows that they hiding something from you. They have something, they have a hidden agenda. So I teach my sons the same way. You speak with your head up. You talk boldly, like you know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? You are who you are. So it's just, you got to be strong being a black man in general, man. I don't know if my speaker went off or whatnot, but I can't hear you speaking. Are you there? I don't even know if you're there or not.
No?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So I was saying, I totally, like, I'm so glad you were able to share that, because I know a lot of men listen to that and they probably could resonate with that. But for those who really want to know the question in certain detail, what do you consider the difference between a healthy ego and an unhealthy ego? Give an example as maybe men who go around constantly saying pause every 5 minutes. That to me could be considered toxic masculinity, because it's like this, you know, toughness, and they got, every little word they say may sound weak, so they got to say pause. I'm not a fan of that. I'm gonna be honest, to that level. I mean, I could see you saying pause, it's a hip-hop culture thing or whatever, but when you constantly saying it after every single thing, that's questionable.
Yeah.
Just different things, like that's far as an unhealthy ego. But a healthy ego to me is a man, like you just said, who is confident and who can look someone in the eye and know what they want, and be true to who they are, and stand up and help mentor, and and mentor young men into being vulnerable but still confident. That's a difference when having to constantly man up and be tough. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to get too much into that. I totally agree, and I love what you're saying. But we do have some people watching. I want to show some love too, because IG be cutting people off in less than an hour. So thanks again, Pastor Tracy, for still joining the Only Statement clothing line. Booyah Tribe, Booyah Jerry. I said Booyah Tribe. I meant Booyah Jerry. Oh, an old friend of mine. I have not seen you in forever. Thank you for joining. D33DS _5. Okay. Thank you guys for watching on IG. I totally appreciate it. I'm not even looking at YouTube until later, but Facebook, Alicia Hawkins, thank you so much for showing some love. I appreciate it. So now that we got some of our viewers out the way, I totally appreciate you guys. I want to ask both of you guys this question, and then we'll go to the next clip. Why do most Black men consider therapy to be weak? How can we change that narrative, Markayla? How can we change that narrative on therapy? Because I personally feel like therapy is a good thing, but I don't know, for black men, but you tell me.
I would say one, the ego thing, one, that can be a disease on one end of the spectrum, uh, opposed to the confidence, you know what I mean? Our masculinity, our macho-ism, so to speak. Throughout our history, we've always been, most of us have been told to be strong by not shedding a tear, expressing emotion. Uh, Sports play a part in it, where you have some dads that are too tough on their kids, where they're actually living their life through their child. There's different variables to that as an answer.
Can I stop you right there? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can I just say this? This is exactly what I was just talking about with the toxic masculinity piece. You're chiming right into what I definitely was discussing. So thank you. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Us being afraid to express emotion. We've seen our fathers, our uncles, and our grandfathers barely shed a tear. So as a young boy, that also helps. So as a young boy growing up looking at that, how do you ask your dad, grandfather, uncles, older brothers, why don't you cry or shed a tear like mommy or grandma, auntie, yada, yada, yada type of deal? You see what I'm saying? A lot of this is already like bestowed upon us to be, in order for us to not know how to be. When we're full-fledged men needing to be emotional, where we wouldn't have to look to therapy. You know what I'm saying? What's up, man? How you doing? Because therapy does start at home. And our biggest therapists are our mothers, our women in general, the nurturers. You dig? So therapy, we already get therapy. But as far as what the question entails, we too damn macho. We too strong. And it's the vulnerability that's a defense mechanism that won't allow us to be as emotional as the woman is. When we're really more emotional than a woman, we are. That's why we're so hard. And mind you, it's just like Pac said, and we can try to refrain from it and deny it all we want to. How in the hell can't you be emotional when you come from a woman?
Say it.
You understand? You come. That's why I love women the way that I do. You dig? Especially with the loss of my mother. And so now my love is even stronger. You dig? So I'm gonna say the lack of a woman companionship to secure our confidence in us to want to be open for therapy. We would rather listen to our woman, but hell, we even shun our woman. We shun our mamas, we shun all the woman advice, but we would rather listen to them than actually go to a stranger and go through that therapeutic process. So my answer is one. It's a good reason it's a good thing you got more than one male to get an answer. So you're not gonna get the same answer.
Right. I totally agree with that. And that's not that's yes, okay. And that's what this is the insane platform is different from a lot of platforms is because I want people to speak how they want to speak on and share their genuine authentic heart. And I also bring out statistics of information and video clips as well from sometimes other YouTubers or the news or whatever it may be so that we can discuss these things. And I'm saying this because I do have new viewers that also is watching and probably don't know what this setup is. But I also have the real Kumite just joined on IG. Thank you so much. IG coming up, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to tell IG they need to allow whole video times like 2 hours at least, because they only give an hour. So guys, if you are watching on IG, you probably are about to be shut down, but please go to YouTube, go to the YouTube page, look on my link, go to This Is Insane YouTube page, or go to Facebook page and listen to us continue this conversation. So we're about to get into these video clips real fast. Let me bring up the first one. Hold on.
Right now, the summer of 2020 will definitely go down in history as the country faced a health pandemic and an overdue racial reckoning. And that can be stressful for any American. But for Black Americans, the CDC says anxiety and depression shot up 41% in those screened since George Floyd's death. That was just in May. But as I dug a little deeper, doctors and activists say it's more than just 2020. Being Black in America is a traumatic experience in itself.
It was like every week something was happening. It was like every day you were getting a new story. And you thought it was going to stop, and it was not stopping.
We have police officers who are not going to be held accountable for killing an innocent woman, but you have police officers who will be held accountable for endangering others. So it's a paradox here.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what the Black experience has been like this year.
We live in a society and a world and a country that has been based and really founded on this idea of white supremacy. And what that has meant on the other side has been this idea of Black inferiority. And so it is not uncommon for many and most Black people to talk about and to have had traumatic experiences related to being Black.
So how do you know when it's too much?
There comes a point for many of us when it becomes a bit too much, when we aren't able to function, where maybe our sleep is being impacted, our relationships are being impacted, that are just day-to-day functioning is not at its prime.
It can be as simple as watching the news where body camera video shows someone getting shot and killed, like George Floyd, a Tatiana Jefferson, or Stephon Clark.
Seeing those things, it makes us feel in the moment as though we are triggered in terms of our stress response. Because guess what? That could be me, or that has been me, or someone that I love.
And if you're not Black, but looking for ways to help alleviate pressure for those around you, Dr. Christie says self-awareness can help.
Of whiteness, of white supremacy, of white fragility. How does it show up in my life? How can I look at kind of systems and institutions and the ways in which all of these dynamics play a role? And where can I step up and in?
Dr. Christie says if you've noticed a change and think it may be anxiety or depression, there are ways to cope. First, think about making an appointment with your doctor to make sure it's not affecting your personal health, because that can absolutely happen. Next, if you're part of a faith-based community, reach out to your faith leader. Then check in with community resources or even reach out to a mental health professional to get tips on how to cope. And finally, sometimes just having a safe space where you can talk about your experiences, like Safe Black Space, can help. We will have links and all of this information on our website for you at abc10.com.
I want to ask you guys a question, and this is going to be you guys going into your vulnerable bag. Okay, starting with Mr. Boone. When George Floyd, and not taking away, Philando Castile, pretty much, let me just ask this, not even just George Floyd, which death hit you the most when it came to like whatever you were in your life, wherever you were in your life, like which death hit you the most in our community that changed you and made you say, okay, something got to give? Like, what was it? What was your turning point for real? Because I mean, this is a situation where I know we get desensitized, seeing all this stuff, numb, seeing all this stuff. Like these young kids growing up is so numb to violence or whatever, but what in your heart, because I know several of them you probably cried, you probably felt fear and anxiety because of you being a black man too, but which one impacted you the most and impacted your family? Mr. Boone.
I'm gonna have to go a little bit back, further back then.
Yeah,
Um, I,
whichever one.
I might say Rodney King, to be totally honest.
Man.
I'm gonna have to say that one because that kind of changed me like big time, especially at time I was really getting an understanding of it, especially dealing with cops. Um, Being where I was from, coming from Grand Rapids and also in Saginaw, man, I was seeing cops just do some of the craziest things. So when I seen the Rodney King thing, what I'm saying, I was like, man, something got to give. At that time I was probably a teenager, but it made me feel like man, any one of us could be next. You know what I'm saying? We've been protesting for years. We've been marching. That stuff ain't gonna work today. Especially in these times, even though we was dealing with stuff back then, you know what I'm saying, the times are a little different now. You got George Floyd and everything else, and it's still the same. Ain't nothing changed. You know what I'm saying? We've been marching in the 60s. We've been protesting. We've been having these preachers preach about this stuff that God's gonna make it and God's gonna do this. And the thing is, and it's Black Lives Matter and all that type of stuff. I really feel Black lives will start mattering. We start mattering. We start caring about one another because we divided all the way around. If we want the cops to start killing us, we got to stop killing each other. So the thing is, man, when it came to the cops and stuff on us, man, I ain't gonna even lie to you. That made me feel like, man, if the Black Panther Party was to start back, man, I'll be the first to join because it's like, man, it's like back in those days, it seemed like we stuck together, more than what we stick together now. And it just made me look at cops. I'm not even gonna lie, even to this day, I may be a Christian man, but I still have some type of vendetta against cops because it's like, I watch all the time on YouTube. I see cops pulling people over, especially us. They're pulling us over stupid stuff. I stay in Bay City. Majority of this little city is white. We get pulled over on stupid things all the time. And the first thing you think is like, man, am I next? You know what I'm saying? Am I going to be the one that everybody be protesting about, my face on T-shirts and, and all this other type of stuff, man? It's just a shame that, that we have to think that way, what I'm saying, when it comes to cops and come to us being, whenever you get pulled over, I don't think it's almost natural. When we get pulled over, first thing you think like, hey, keep your hand on the steering wheel. You know what I'm saying? Don't make any fast, quick movements. You know what I'm saying? Your life can be on the line the very second you get pulled over from just running the stop sign. So that pretty much was a real big impact on me, dealing with the police brutality, going back and forth with the cops and the law. Because to me, I think the law is set up to keep us down. The law is set up to, to keep us in line, to keep us programmed. And I don't believe in being programmed because they don't follow the rules anyway.
Right.
And I ain't trying to sound bitter, but that's just something that just
no, it's yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And Markayla, what situation impacted you the most in where you said, you know what, this is it's over with? Like, what situation impacted you the most during it's been so many, I know, like he went back as far as Rodney King. And I do want to say two things. One is, it was sad to me moving to California and some people never heard of the Rodney King incident. And I discussed that with them and had to educate some people, which I just was shocked that in their own backyard that this wasn't heavy. And the second thing is I was a part of the new Black Panther Party back in the day. Rest in peace, Khalid Muhammad. Okay.
Yeah, that's my dude.
So let's get your thoughts, Markayla, on what we are discussing. Which situation?
Being that I can't. It'll be the current situations. I consider them. I lock them all in one because the most traumatic situation that affected me is not by the hands of police. It's personal situation. So when it comes to police, when it comes to, because being that I've been arrested now, in my later years, 48 years of age, being for the first time. So I thought I was actually going to go through some typical, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna say brutality, but some typical harassment type stuff. You know what I mean? But I didn't. But I was mentally prepped for it because all the while during this Obama, then you had George Bush and then Biden. This large mass of us was dying right in front of the camera, and this is year after year after year after year, to the point where my oldest son, who's staying in Arizona, who is built like a grown man, but at the time was 16. I feared I had to fly down there and end up in jail in Arizona because I didn't care who is who and what you had on. Police, show me the police officer or officers, and then I'll handle my case in Arizona. So it is basically this Black Lives Matter protest thing that got me fed up because I was stuck wondering when am I going to be next? Fed up to the point where I was tired of seeing people recording these brutalities. You know what I'm saying? So it's a collective. All of it is one ordeal for me because you got, before Rodney King, you got Malice Green. You know what I'm saying? Who got done worse than Rodney, because he still walked away with his life. You know what I mean? So all of that during the time of, I guess, Black Lives Matter for me as a full-fledged adult coming from that drug era, and gang era that we lived through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we're now done with that and now left with the other element that was a part of that, which was the police brutality. But that police brutality has always been there. You know what I'm saying? So during I'm gonna say it is height in the return of it, where we're now just focused on that as if we're now back in the civil rights time. That's what this protests and all of this boycotting and rioting basically mimicked and reflected. You know what I'm saying? In a sense. So it wasn't just one incident.
Okay.
From whenever Black Lives Matter started to where we're at today.
So,
I'm fed up.
I get it. And I thank you for sharing. So before we go to the next question, we're going to hit another video because we have 5 video clips, guys, just so you know. And I tried to make them short or edit them to what needed to be, kind of like discussed.
As the nation reacts to Derek Chauvin's conviction, a first-of-its-kind study shows the impact police killings have on the mental health of many Black families.
Denise Valdez has the findings in today's Health Watch.
Find the defendant guilty.
The George Floyd case has gripped the nation. For Richard Parker, seeing another Black man die after interacting with law enforcement is overwhelming.
It gets difficult. I don't want to live in a constant state of rage and anger and fear. So sometimes I just try to tune it out. And I hate to admit that publicly, but I got to protect my peace.
A new study from a group of U.S. researchers shows the significant negative toll police killings of Black Americans has on the mental health of other Black Americans.
Weeks where we have 2 or more incidents of these high-profile acts of racial violence, Black Americans report a higher number of poor mental health days.
The study analyzed nearly 50 highly publicized incidents from 2013 to 2017, including cases involving Freddie Gray, Philando Castile, and Michael Brown, where officers were not convicted.
We find that it's the legal decisions to not indict or convict officers that's the strongest or only significant predictor of the poor mental health days.
Parker believes much more work still needs to be done.
And what about everybody else, who have lost their lives? Where's their justice? Like, we can't just celebrate one when the system is still broken.
He's relieved there was a conviction this time, but he'll keep fighting for a world where police violence does not exist. Denise Valdez, 8 News Now.
Sorry, I had myself on mute. That conversation was from a Black man who actually was on the front line of a lot of the different protests. So I just kind of wanted to highlight a man who actually have been on the front line that understand the pavement. And I totally understand the pavement. I've been a protester on the front line, all of that, as well as now what I do is try to, I'm no longer on the front line to that level unless I need to be, but I do a lot of things behind the scenes, whether it's give, whether it's try to donate, t-shirts from, my clothing line, and create t-shirts, whatever it could be that I could be used. And I just think everybody that I have connected with in that area. And that is one of the biggest things that I, before we continue, would like to say to the audience. In order for us to do anything and to try to become better in our community, we have to lift one another up, lift a child up, lift a young teen up, mentor them, give them power, words of wisdom, guidance, spiritual leaders, going on the pavement more, hitting the pavement like these, no disrespect to them, but like these Jehovah Witness out here and trying to recruit teens and, to assist in, different organizational things, whatever it may be. The impact has to start grassroots, and then you will see something really major happens. And it doesn't have to start grassroots, but I'm a grassroots type of person, and I know Rome is not built in a day. Okay. I just wanted to say that. So go to your, to a community meeting or whatever it may be. You might not think that your words don't matter, but they do. I've been in the management for a long time, and I, employ, like the gentleman that was on here earlier from Chicago, have known me since he was 16 years old. I gave him one of his first jobs, and I helped to develop young kids that is in these inner cities that I was working in. And even people that was in prison that was coming home, including my brother who got out of prison, and he was able to get a job, and it changed his life because I connected with HR in the different companies I worked for, and tried to help to get people back into society properly. So those are things that I never discussed, but I'm discussing on here now because majority of the people that I have really helped is men, is young black men, as well as some young women, but black men are very important to our society. And right now it does not look like that. And unfortunately, that's sad. So that's why even if I don't get any people that want to be guests on here, like I had a ton of people that said they were coming, but they didn't. It doesn't matter to me because I'm still going to finish the rest of this season out with these episodes in hopes that maybe, the viewership will make a large impact and it will change people. So sorry about that, but I had to say that because I'm really, I'm in my feelings about a lot of the men not showing up that have voices, but I am very appreciative of the two men that in the one that he was at work, so he had to jump off. But the three men that actually came on, that speaks volumes. and you guys are very intelligent men, and that's what is even better. Okay, so from that video clip, that was just a continuation of some of the other video, but what I want to get into now, because we're kind of close to the end, is I want to educate some of the viewers on, you know, the first generational trauma. Let me get to it. Okay. Generational trauma 1. How did slavery come to America? Beginning in the 16th century and 4 centuries after. Now, as you can see, and everyone knows, because I don't have to go into too much detail, there are intelligent people watching, people that, you know, study history. However, there's people that, you know, don't know, and that's why I'm doing this. There's way more people that actually traded us than shown, but this is like the very first, okay? And of course, African people were purchased for different things, but many of whom have been captured by the traders, African allies in wars or in raids, and transported them to the American colonies for permanent enslavement. This is what I wanted to focus on, okay? I wanted to focus on, and I put it in, and I don't have my glasses, y'all, so that's why I didn't read too much. Why I ain't have them on. But permanent enslavement. So the next thing that I want to discuss is, you guys, this was written up in Wikipedia. Permanent enslavement means that they weren't ever thinking about us even having freedom. And that's what a lot of people got to understand, like a lot of the Uncle Ruckuses and the different people that try to argue that we should be happy that we're equal. We are not equal, and we will never be equal. And they lost a lot of money releasing our ancestors to be able to become human, because they didn't think of our ancestors as human. Y'all already know that. So for me to see permanent enslavement when I was studying, I was like, this already shows you, all you got to do is read the fine print. So guys, let's talk about this real quick. This is generational trauma 1. This is one of the situations right here. Can you imagine our ancestors having to go through all of what they went through before Jim Crow, and the slave owners already had in mind that they were never releasing them ever. There was nothing. They were going to continue with a life of servitude to them. So there are people that are ancestors to those slave patrollers that we deal with in our communities and in businesses every single day, that was taught this early on. So what are your thoughts on, this was just like one of those messages, number 1, but what are your thoughts, Mr. Boone, on the situation where it states in our history, in documentation, that our ancestors were meant for permanent enslavement? Like how, like that is a part of the mental trauma, the trauma that we're holding for generational for generations. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like the beginning of our generational trauma right there, just knowing that our ancestors weren't even supposed to they weren't supposed to be free, period.
Well, my take on it, man, is to be totally honest. Mm-mm-mm. When it comes to that, yeah, wow, that's real deep. When it comes to that, I like to say, like you said, his story. You know, it's his story. You know, a lot of people don't know that a lot of the blacks, we were actually enslaved. We enslaved ourselves before we were. Well, we went into slavery. We sold ourselves before they even captured us. You know, so a lot of people like to say, "Oh, it was the white man that came over and enslaved us," but it was us that was selling each other first. You know, like what a lot of people don't know. You know, and the thing about it, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to it is that to me it all states back to programming. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if anybody really take heed to like the Willie Lynch letter or nothing like that, but you know, I just think that it all falls back, you know what I'm saying, to being programmed. You know what I'm saying, dealing with who we are as a people, and religion plays a big part in the slave trade, whether it was merchandise or religion, because if you look at it, you know, when the Islam took over Africa, it was either you're going to either convert or you was going to be enslaved, you know, or be killed. And a lot of them converted, you know what I'm saying? And if they didn't convert, you know what I'm saying, they were saying that the slaves that was converting over, you know what I'm saying, and some of them that didn't convert over, they wanted to be killed rather than convert over to Islamic faith. So other than that, you know what I'm saying, and if they didn't kill them, you know, the Europeans was like pretty much, you know, I mean, why kill them when they can be sold? So a lot of us was sold over here as well, all based on religion, because at one point in time, you know, I mean, Africa was full of Christians, but the Islamic faith came in and took over, you know. And so when all that to me is still like it goes all the way back to, you know, just being programmed, and that's the way we are now. And when it comes to the Willie Lynch letter and all that type of stuff, we was programmed: the black against the dark skin, against the light skin, the old against the young, and the female against the male, whatnot, you know. And I just look at it like, man, we got to know our history, you know what I'm saying, where we really come from, and when it comes to us not being, we was meant to stay slaves. I agree that they probably really intended us to stay slaves, because when we were free, when they claimed we was free, a lot of people don't know the Native Americans didn't let us go. You know, we were still enslaved with some of the Native Americans, and a lot of people don't know that Native Americans had blacks as slaves as well.
That's
So
true. Everybody had a piece of us.
oh yeah,
The Asians were the last to jump on board, but everybody had a piece. And that's what people don't like. That's why critical race theory and all of that, and they trying to erase certain parts of history is so important to them, to try to change a narrative, because people are starting to learn more due to the high technology we have too, and starting to study people from different countries, younger people. And yeah, but I totally, and I didn't want to, you know, like dim your light, but you are absolutely correct in a lot of things that you said. And generational, that is a basis of our generational trauma right there, that I think that some never even understand, that trauma follows you. Trauma is hereditary.
It's a curse.
It is, and it's that right there has to be broken, because there's a situation now where people feel stuck and they don't do. Now we know this in our community, people don't fight the way that they used to fight. Like, I have people in the workplace that know that they're not getting their just due, or something may happen to them, and they'll complain, but they'll never see it through. This is right here is a curse. They'll never see it through. They'll never fight for their freedom, or for their pay, or for whatever it is that they supposed to have to the fullness. They won't go to court to the fullness. It's like, okay, you know, whatever, I'm gonna just charge it to the game. Stop charging things to the game. We have to start seeing things through, period. That right there is a part of that curse as well. Okay, Markayla, I had something else for you though, but you look like you had some things to say, so I'm going to go ahead and let you speak because they look like you want to. So what are your thoughts on just knowing that our ancestors were destined for permanent enslavement?
Yeah, I've always said if our ancestors were to come back based on the guilt trip that most of us always go through when we mention that we're not voting, we don't vote, how that our ancestors will be ashamed for all of what they fought for. When I refuse to believe every ancestor fought for us to live in this manner, when we're still being, like my man said, Willie lynched. Mind you, that's the other the other name is Jim and Willie. You dig what I'm saying? And one of
They
their
go
last name is,
together.
you know what I'm saying? One of their last name is Lynch, and that's what used to happen to us. You dig what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's the thing that the slaves of old were being. That's how they were being treated. That's one of their main, treatments. That they had to go through. So, man. So you saying before Willie Lynch? Hell, I can't speak on the minds of our enslaved ones back then. Only thing I can speak on is the civil rights.
Well, it's not really speaking on them. It's just knowing, like, this documentation is public, and it states that it states that African people, many of whom have been captured by the traders, African allies in wars or in raids, and transported them to the American colonies for permanent enslavement. So all of these people all over the country that was getting Africans, and that's why they did not think of us as humans. We were always a commodity. And to know that they had they did not even think about trying to give freedom to our ancestors, that created some type of generational trauma that was instilled in us, even if we don't know. Because like Mr. Boone was saying, that was a curse, and that's true. And trauma is embedded in us from generations to generations. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Our ancestors was just a commodity. Well, they were, they were the ones who, it says 60% of wealth in just America alone came from the slave trade. So can you imagine that? 60%? Okay, so that's still happening as we exist. So can you imagine that the people, modern people of today from different countries that understand this could be so upset that we are free and we have the same, not same equality, but we're able to succeed at certain levels. And they looking at this, knowing that this was supposed to have been permanent. They were never supposed to get anything.
Okay, sis. Now, so I just like the word normalized. I bring it to the word variable because we got to weigh them all.
Yeah,
so we got to weigh them all. So when we're saying slavery, enslavement, that's one topic, but we can't skip over when we were free and had ownership during a lot of those times that weren't too far stretched from when the slavery started.
Yeah.
Once we became a
and when they burned everything down, and they was burning
then
all
comes
of
the
it.
restart of the permanent enslavement. So at one point we were not. At one point we were colonized into having our own, where we were governed. You know what I'm saying? Where the restart came through civil rights, where Black Panthers and all of that had to fight, where it was more militant.
That was a different
and
generation of trauma, but yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if we're bringing up this, we cannot disregard when we were free in ownership.
Yeah, but that was post Jim Crow. But we're talking about before Jim Crow. But I get what you're saying. So that conversation was to bring up the first set of trauma that has happened with our ancestors. That's what I was bringing up. And then just seeing that we were supposed to be enslaved permanently. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it took a certain specific of major people that we still read about today to make those changes, because they followed through in those. They followed through whether they were going to die or whatever, like Harriet Tubman, like Frederick Douglass, learning to read and inventing so many different things, even though he wasn't supposed to learn how to read. Like so many different people in our history. And now we don't follow through. That's what I was saying. We don't follow through 100% the way that our ancestors did. So we have to break that cycle. Like this is a whole mental thing. You know what I'm saying? In order for us to fight the powers that be, we have to start like connecting with each other, as guys were saying earlier, and making sure that we get our home together and then following through as a unit on what our needs are for our community to be better. There's got to be some, like, when are we going to do this? That's what I'm saying. But we're going to go to the next clip. And then after that, we're going to finish off with a couple of these Jim Crow and the modern Jim Crow with the redlining and different things that I want to discuss with y'all that I wrote down. But this, oh my gosh, I am loving this. I wish we have to do this on a physical level. I think I need to bring this like somewhere where we can all be in the room together.
Okay. Discussion joint.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so let's get to, we got actually 2 clips because I think that you guys are going to benefit from 2 of these brothers in their perspective. They both are professors. So that's going to be the end. That's Roland Martin I was watching. But this clip right
Tonight,
here is
all new
another
at 5:30. We are diving into the issues of mental health among the African American community.
According to recent studies, the mental health of Black Americans is under strain. And it's a combination of a lot of things, including the pandemic, racial disparity, and recent police shootings. News 6's Jerry Askin has reaction.
What's his name? After recent protests over the past year when George Floyd was killed.
You can only watch law enforcement murder Black people for so long until it just becomes numb.
The guilty verdict this week for Derek Chauvin brought relief for many people. But for Orlando father Kenneth Hughes, the cycle of Black people killed by police nationwide is still disheartening.
So I think there's a huge cloud that hangs over Black America when it comes to law enforcement.
He said he wants to make sure his young son grows up safely. And he told me he's been seeking therapy, but it goes way beyond the police shootings.
Black people in America have trauma that America has caused, and we have to unpack it, and we got to work through it.
And he's not alone.
Yesterday, I had a man that came in for the first time, and he was just in tears.
Oviedo-based therapist Pernell Bush said over the past year, he's seen about 80% more Black men seek therapy at his office, many upset over the recent police shootings.
I have seen individuals come into my office with concerns such as just being discouraged, being anxious, feeling insignificant.
He's hosting a free mental health forum and a movie Friday at 6 p.m. in Orlando aimed at helping Black men cope.
It's okay to disconnect. It's okay to allow yourself to process, and it's okay to get into a community or support circle that you feel safe with.
And I want you all to know there is help out there for you. And I posted a few resources for mental health counseling on our website at clickorlando.com. And I'll go ahead and share that even I have started therapy in the past year. In Orlando, I'm Jerry Askin, getting results, News 6.
Thank you guys. I apologize. I'll be trying to respectfully be on mute so it could just there be no interference, but still. I do like the fact that this video went into more of the mental health aspect with Black men actually saying that they went to therapy. Now, there's some resources which I thought I had that clip, but I'll just go ahead and I'll add it to the next episode, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put resources because there's one Black mental, it's a bunch of brothers that got together, a bunch of doctors that got together, and they have a mental health they have a mental health group for Black men, and they also do different retreats and different things like that. So I'm going to be sharing those resources, and I'm going to actually add them to the banners for the show. We'll add them into the comments because this is live, so I can't this ain't recorded. So yeah, I'll be having them into the comments. That's what I'll do, into my links as well. Okay. So yeah, that was that. And then we're gonna watch this last clip and then take it away with our conversation, which will be about Jim Crow and the new modern Jim Crow, and then also what us women can do to assist and different things like that. So let's start with this. Now, I cut this and edited this. I didn't put the part on with the doctor, that this lady who was a doctor. It was just long, and it's pretty much saying a lot of different things we've been discussing. But what I want you to kind of like really listen to is Dr. Carr and the other gentleman who is a professor somewhere, and he's a professor with predominantly white students, and he's a Black man. And Dr. Carr, of course, is with the HBCU and has always really been into teaching Black students. So listen to their perspectives.
Corey Myers-Smith, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Greg, Carl, I want to start with you. How do you deal with this in your students, your class? Because surely this comes up.
Well, I think Attorney Smith is right. The first thing that I try to do is remind them that this is a safe space. It's one of the reasons that they chose coming to a Black college. That's number one. And then, as she said, I listen. But I listen with an ear that is attuned as a Black man to the fact that we experience this trauma in ways that make us internalize our true feelings. And so what I found over the years, I guess now over 25 years of teaching between Ohio State Temple and now Howard, classically close to 30, what I found is that when we are comfortable and when we have our conversations with each other, if we can let go of that fear, what comes out is the rage. What comes out is the anger. And sometimes it has to be triggered with a prompt. So in my hip hop class, for example, when we get to the part now in the early 90s, we start talking about gangster rap. So I'll play Fuck the Police, coming straight from the underground. Young brother got it bad because I'm brown. And they think they have the authority to kill a minority. But see, I ain't the one for a punk motherfucker with a badge and a gun to be beaten on. I said, now what do y'all think about that? What comes out is the anger. See, because what that trauma breeds is fear. And we often respond to the fear by somehow reinforcing the idea that we can't stand up straight and express what we think. And I think that is the thing that cripples us. Because when you let go of that fear, when you're in a comfortable space, that's when you can begin to address your full humanity. Not only should we be enraged, we should be comfortable in sitting in the feeling that if you come for me, if I can't even do it, I fantasize about killing you before you kill me. And I can say that out of my mouth, stand up straight, and not worry about any white lash because I'm in a Black space. That's why I chose to work in a Black institution. And any Negro that thinks somehow that's an inappropriate response, I tell them very simply, look in the mirror and deal with your fear. Don't be scared. Free yourself.
Omakongo, how do you confront this in your classroom?
This is amazing hearing Dr. Carr speak on this, because I am in the exact opposite situation teaching at American University, where the majority of my students are white. And I've had situations where I've had students ask me to have a disclaimer before I would show some of these videos, when I would show them in earlier times. And I said, it's very interesting. We talk about a disclaimer, but for us, it's every day on loop. We can't escape these videos. We have to work intentionally to try to escape these things. And so, number one, you're asking to have your emotions be protected, which I respect, but how do we put into a place where you're respecting our emotions? And then
Okay, I ain't putting myself on mute no more. Where his, I'm going to have to stop this. And the reason being is because, keep in mind, we kind of figured what Dr. Carr was going to say, because of the fact that he's a professor and he's always been pretty much educating Black students. This brother right here, who is definitely a pro-Black man, is a professor at a predominantly white school. And this is showing the different dynamic. It's showing, the total opposite of what we have and what they have. And one thing that it should show is what I was saying, is they follow through and they speak on what affects them. So these people just said that they would like a disclaimer before he shows anything, because they want to protect their peace, because they want to protect, they want to protect themselves from what they're about to see. But we don't have that luxury. You understand what I'm saying? So that is one of the biggest things that people got to understand, is that in order for us to start our healing process with each other, and men starting the healing process, is we have to let go of that fear and that trauma that has happened. Some people don't want to let that go. That trauma breeds fear. That's one of the biggest things that Dr. Carr said. And when he was discussing his class and how he allowed them to scream and bring out that rage, and to sing songs or rap songs from NWA and different things like that to the top of their lungs. Those things is real, because men do that in their privacy of their own homes and with their friends and all of that. And that's their way of releasing. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, like the white people and the different other races of what other ethnicities of people that don't understand that, they ask for disclaimers. Okay. Sorry, guys. Let's continue.
I ask them another question. I tell them, every time I see one of these videos, depending on who it is, I see myself, family member, friend, sister, parent, brother, whatever. Do you see yourself or anybody else in your family or in your friend group in these videos that you see? And the overwhelming majority of them will say no. And I tell them, that's the problem. Your inability to humanize us in the way you humanize your own community is why these situations will continue to happen. You won't see them. You will assume the knowledge, that the mindset of, well, they must have done something. Police are always right. My dad's a cop. My aunt was in the military, and therefore, and I know they're good. And we do the work by the end of the semester to break that. And many of the students who come through my class, they end up seeing what we're talking about, and they come out being advocates for the things that we're talking about tonight. But they're not coming in with that knowledge and with those emotions. And so it's a lot of work to get them there, but it's worthy work, because we're going to also need them in this fight as well.
And let me just say this, because this is why I wanted you guys to see this, and this is why I chose for this to be the last one. Every person that you're going to see, because it's 3 people, it's 2 Black men and it's a Black woman, and the Black woman teaches teams. Okay, so in this one, and I love how Roland Martin did it, because he put Dr. Carr, which I love Dr. Carr, but he got Dr. Carr teaching Black men and Black women, Then he has this gentleman who is, I consider the spook who sat by the door. You know what I'm saying? Because I love the fact that he is still like I said, a pro-black man who loves his community, but he's in a space where he can make a change mentally with those and get them to understand who we are by the exercises that he gives them. And that was amazing for him to be able to take a bunch of entitled people that doesn't understand our culture, doesn't understand our strife and our pain, and then get them to understand and be empathetic about it. And now they are on the front line next to our brothers and sisters with their signs. That's amazing. That's amazing work. So that's why I wanted to show
Final
y'all
comment,
this.
Amisha Cross.
So I'm concerned across the board, but I think I'm most concerned when it comes to K through 12 students because they don't have the privilege of having a Dr. Carr in the classroom. 97% of K through 12 students, Black students across this country, are taught by white women. So at the end of the day, they don't have someone who is an empowering advocate in front of them, reinstilling or talking about this in a way that can help them not be afraid, in a way that can help them not push towards anger, in a way that can help them focus their energies. They have teachers in front of them who honestly don't see the plight, in many cases do not care, and aren't even having the conversations like we're having, or even, on a smaller scale in their classrooms. We're also acknowledging the fact that a lot of the victims of police brutality do happen to be children of color. We're talking about your Trayvon Martins. We're talking about your we're talking about we're talking about what we just saw happen in Ohio. We're talking about what we saw with Laquan McDonald in Chicago. We are seeing time after time where K through 12 young people are losing their lives to white supremacy, and they don't have an outlet. They don't have counselors in the majority of these schools that are predominantly African American. And in many cases, the counselors that they do have don't want to talk about police brutality. So this is a case for me where my great concern is, what are we doing for the K through 12 students? What are we doing for the students who don't have that pillar in the classroom that can have those conversations? What are we doing for those students who are living in fear, not because of what's going on in their communities, but because they know that this protect and serve mantra does not affect them? That protect and serve obviously means that in many cases, their Black bodies are the things that are the most brutalized. Their Black bodies are the things that police officers happen to be afraid of for whatever reason. And I think that we have to really take that into consideration, because in our public schools, school resource officers, SROs, are funded at much higher rates than our counseling services are for these young people. So they are left to fend for themselves.
That was an amazing conversation that they were having. And even though I feel like our conversation is way more amazing. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Roland Martin. No,
I ain't even roll
Roland.
with him like.
Huh?
I don't roll with him like.
Well, honestly, I roll with. I'm not going to say I don't roll with him. I don't agree with all of his with everything, but I do love the fact that he has a platform and that people are able to share things that is needed and resources for us to grow. That's very important. And unfortunately, it's the ones that we wish had, the ones that we really like are the ones that is sharing resources less. So unfortunately, that's how it go. But with her conversation, our next generation is next. And that is also my episode 3, my episode part 2 of Black and Blue, because I'm going to be discussing adultification and the youth and teens that have been, lynched by police officers as well as harmed, and also them growing up now when they pretty much seeing situations with Tamir Rice or with Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin, and now they are teens or probably close to being 17, 18 years old, and they had to see this situation happen and grow through all of this now, because this is a consistency. You know what I'm saying? So they even have it worse than a lot of others. To, you know, a lot of, well, I should say a lot of Black older Black generations, like baby boomers, Gen X, millennials. They had to see this on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? They had to either be as children on the front line on a consistent basis, or see it on the TV, or hear about it at school, or see the t-shirts on a consistent basis. And they are still young, still growing, not mature. You know what I'm saying? And that's not even the, you know, stating what might be happening in their households. You know what I'm saying? And how they're raised and growing up. So they have a lot of trauma. There's a lot to that, you know? So that's going to be part 2. Just so you guys know, if you want to jump on to that, I appreciate it. And just so y'all know, I will not be reaching out to anybody else. If anybody is interested in actually being a part of the panel, then everybody has my information in my socials. But I'm going to still do this and follow through with it, because this information needs to be out. But I kind of already know my brother will probably be a part of it. So I'm not in Mr. Boone, you definitely was on point. I would love for you to come back on that. So we're going to finish this, and then I'll let you guys share your thoughts, last minute thoughts on everything. So this is what I wanted to discuss. This is the Jim Crow. Okay. America was built on Jim Crow. How can we change our approach? How can we change our approach to the system so we can build? Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, I forgot to say this. Why are some Black, let me make sure that I specify, because the one thing that I notice, especially with some men, is they don't read, they wouldn't read some. They'll say, what you mean? I do my part. It's not about that. I said some. Why are some Black men not being the bridge and mentor to the new generation of young men who need guidance? Definitely, before we get out of here, definitely want to hear this. Why are some Black men, some, not being the bridge and mentor to the new generation of young men who need guidance, Markayla? and listen, this is insane. It's about keeping it 100. So go ahead, baby.
I'm finna show do
Already.
that. I'm sorry, but in our community, in our generation, because you're older than I am. I don't know how old Mr. Boone is, but I know you're probably 10 years.
Mr. Boone is
possibly.
a millennial, I think.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, he
can. Well, he scaves a little bit in a sense, but for us, it's the fathers or lack thereof that was in our lives that were a product of the civil rights era, that knew what it took after being a product of that era, that did not show us what they lacked, knowing what they lacked, and knowing what they wanted and needed for growth. I'm a part of the some. I also grew up with some young men that had fathers who were married to their mom, that groomed them to be the successful men that they are today, that don't fit in the some category. But that some is a major mass majority that all plays a part in the conversation. Willie Lynch, Jim Crow. You dig? It was a plan. We are now the some that we are referring to are the product of the new Jim Crow, where we are relying more so on our independence, not our fatherly grooming, the way our father was supposed. You dig? You know that Regency life and how there weren't as many fathers that were out there in that community and in the terrace and in the valley. So those are just 3 communities. So let's go back to my man, Professor Carr, who brought in the variables that basically complement the topic, which are the raging lyrics, the militant, the angry lyrics from the black men that were brutalized. You know what I'm saying, by law enforcement, because they all have one thing in common: being black in America and law enforcement. You dig? The powers, the FTPs, you know what I mean, the sounds of the police, all of those songs, you know what I'm saying, play a part as to why some men, some black men, you know, in America, now that they are 50, like myself, don't work on building the bridge as a mentor to this youth, because we didn't have we weren't taught, you know, like we were supposed to. We weren't raised like we were supposed to by our fathers, uncles, and grandfathers, because a lot of them weren't in the homes. A lot of them fell victim of them being a product of their childhood stemming from the civil rights. So though some, again, I'm a part of the sum, but being in the field that I am in, I do more building than burning the bridge. You know what I mean? Okay. So I'm trying my best within the field that I am in, breaking the generational curse, especially having 2 black boys too, you dig?
Yes, I appreciate that. And I don't think that you are the sum. The sum is the black men who are not playing their part. You are definitely doing God's work. That's what I call it. You definitely out here building. So I'm just saying from what I see. You know, you could say from what you see about who you are, but I'm from the outside looking in, and who I know you to be, you know, you not having what you just said, but still out here giving the way you should. That is important. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about right there. Okay, so Dr. Boone.
I just read it wrong. That's all.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Dr. Boone. Why are some black men not being the bridge and mentor to the new generation of young men who need guidance?
Well, I'm gonna say I'm part of the sum, if not possibly.
You are not part of the sum. When I say some, okay, you tell me why you say that, because I done seen, okay.
The reason why I would say that is because my generation, you know, because I'm 44. I'm an 80s baby. And a lot of us come from broken homes. Not only that, single parent homes, you know, and the father, like he said, the father's not in the homes, and we are raised by young mothers, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is that a lot of the young mothers, my mother had me at 15, and a lot of those young mothers like that, you know, they don't know what to install in us. They don't take the time to install that stuff in us. And a lot of those things we learn from the streets. And the reason why a lot of guys my age, if I'm not going to say all, but a lot of them that's my age don't know. I mean, they was never taught, you know what I'm saying, to do those things or go out there and reach, you know, some of the younger generation now, you know what I'm saying, because how you going to teach somebody when you don't know and you wasn't taught, you know? And I mean, it's broken homes. I mean, I come from a broken home. I come from a single mother that honestly, she didn't teach me none of that stuff. I had to learn those type of things on my own, if not my grandparents. So my thing is like I learned based on experience on seeing, you know, kids that had less than what I have. And that's just how my heart is. Kids that had less than what I have, I learned to like, man, I mean, the little that I have, I learned to share. I learned to teach and build. That's why I got more off into juveniles and working in juveniles and And I worked at Holy Cross dealing with kids that was in foster homes and broken homes and learning to teach them to redirect themselves. So if, we don't have a lot of, men out there because they're afraid to move, most definitely. They still stuck and traumatized themselves. So if you still stuck in the system and you still stuck mentally, and then break out that little bondage that you're in, I mean, you can't really lead and teach nobody nothing. So, I mean, that could be I ain't gonna say that could be, I'm gonna say that is, a real big reason. Because if I didn't have male mentors in my life, such as my grandfather, such as my uncle who got up in the morning and worked at General Motors 40 years to show me an example of how a man should be, I wouldn't know the little that I know now to get out there myself. So I mean, we don't have that guidance. We don't have that stuff, that structure out there to show us. And I'm not trying to knock down women or nothing like that, because women are nurturers. They teach us how to love. They teach us how to be comforters and stuff like that. But at the same time, you need that male figure. You need that man that's going to teach you how to go out there and survive, teach you how to go out there and build. You know what I'm saying? And not saying a woman can't teach you that, because I don't want to sound like I'm just throwing women up under the bus, but it's nothing like a man to teach a boy to actually to move and merge and to be in that leader. So that's just my opinion on it. That's why that's just my strong hard opinion on that one.
And I agree with it. I totally get where you're going with the conversation, and you guys actually have similar thoughts on that. So that just kind of shows where most men, how most men probably feel, because you guys kind of said the same thing. So I appreciate that. Okay. What can we do? What can we do on our part to build better relationships with the police?
Ooh-wee.
That's got. Listen, it's got. In order for us to make some changes within and to rebuild,
the
police gonna be there. So we have to. Who gonna speak?
I would say we need to be more selective of who we allow to be cops. To be totally honest, I mean, anybody can't be no cop. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, man, I notice when certain people get that power, that authority, they abuse that authority. We need to be more selective on who we allow to have that type of power. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean,
yeah,
this can't just be a white thing, because you got black people that get that type of power too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a different episode. That's a different episode. I'm gonna be showing that. That's actually episode 3.
And you can call them house. You can call them house.
Yeah, them Pac-Mans. Them Pac-Mans.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, Markayla, what's your thoughts?
Favorite group of all time is not a rap group. It is Black Panthers.
Oh yeah.
Where
hold on.
Lying on the police and became self-governed, within their own community. Yes. Basically from that, after that group built that courage and gave courage to their community, acquired firearms, educated themselves with laws, rights, everybody going to school. They're topping the educational system with honor roll and academics at a higher level than most of your Europeanized students of their own curriculum. You dig? Coming back to the community, educate the community, starting the food program, for the lunches, free lunch programs and stuff like that. And from that point, after within gained our governed system for ourselves, then built relationship with the police officer, let them know we got this when we need you. When we need you, that's when we'll work together. But until then, this goes back to what I said, we need to come together and govern ourselves within the community. It can be done because it was already done through the Black Panthers. is our blueprint.
Okay,
It's
so
our
let me.
blueprint. If it wasn't, they wouldn't have desecrated the original Black Panthers and left the Nation of Islam together, where we had to redo the Black Panthers. You dig what I'm saying? Some about the Black Panthers.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
They were
So,
self-governed, like you said. Now, keep in mind, and like I said, I was a part of the new Black Panther Party in Atlanta for a brief time. One of the biggest things that I can say is it definitely was not like the 70s, 60s, 70s. Okay. However, me actually doing a lot of research and reading and studying the Black Panther Party, everything you're saying is correct. Now, what I feel that, and I don't want to say Black Lives Matter, but other organizations that was screaming defund the police, I honestly feel like this is what they had in mind, everything that you were saying, Markayla. However, they weren't screaming it properly. They weren't following through. I'm going to continue to push that narrative about following through. And they did not have a solution as to how the funds that will be received should be dispersed. Because keep in mind, they say the military and the police fund is has the most, okay, which they take from mental health, okay. That's why you don't see a lot of mental health citizens that go out to help when they're on call with different situations, and the police has to go out. And it also says like 30% of the people that have been lynched had mental health issues, you know. So we got a lot of work to do in our community when it comes to actually structuring something and demanding the things that we need in our communities if we want to eliminate the power that the police has over us as far as governing us. But that is what we are here to try to figure out on. How do our Black men, because I'm putting it on you, because I am a traditional woman and you guys are the head of the household, how do we get our Black men as women? Matter of fact, I have this right here. What can Black women do to assist men in their season of healing? What can we do as Black women? What can we do to assist you in your season of healing, as well as for us to move forward with this whole reconstruction? Because we got to tear down to build. You see what I'm saying? So just like you was talking about that uprising, I'm sorry, that was a shout out to Jew, because Jew was talking about that. But what can we do to get to that point of the Black Panther type of foundation, fundamental values that they taught us? What can we do in this modern day? Because we know that there's a modern day Jim Crow. So our modern day Panther Party has to be stronger than it was back in the day when it comes to us being successfully healthy and living long lives, instead of the police lynching our major leaders and, you know, the people in the parties. Because you already know, once something good, they didn't need the government for anything. It was they were funding breakfasts, all type of stuff. It was a beautiful thing. But every time we get to that level, where whether it's Tulsa, whether it's the Black Panther Party, whether it's some of the major men and women
Black Wall
who can
Street.
speak on Black Wall Street, major men and women who can speak on who can speak and just with their words alone can change the hearts and minds of our people to make us better. They all are no longer with us in the flesh. And we know why. You understand? So what the trauma breeds fear. Men are in fear at this time because there's so much trauma. So the fear has got to be broken for them to step up to that level. So that's where men, and I mean, I'm just a platform, but that's where men have to say, what can we do across the United States, across this country? Because I'm talking about Black Americans. What can we do as Black Americans to change the way that we feel, and to change and break free from the chains of this trauma that is holding us back, so that we can follow through with all of the different things that we need to do to build a proper community and society for Black Americans. It's got to happen. This is what this conversation is about. Now, what I'm going to say now, and this is the end, before I also make my final thoughts for y'all. We talked about generational trauma. 2. One, this is 2. Okay, generational trauma. Jim Crow laws were a collection of state and local statutes that legalized racial segregation. Named after a minstrel show character, the laws, which existed for about 100 years from post-Civil War era until 1968, were meant to marginalize African Americans by denying them the right to vote. Now, I'm going to stop here. We already still see this. The right to vote. And people don't understand, even some of our younger and older people don't want to vote because they say it doesn't matter. It always mattered. That's why they work so hard to make sure that we don't vote. Okay. The right to vote, hold jobs. We also see this. There's a high unemployment rate in our community right now, and it's very hard for a lot of our brothers and sisters to get jobs, especially men who also have dedicated their life to this country by fighting in wars. They come back, they can't even get a job, nor is it easy for them to be able to get the services, military services that they deserve, get an education or other opportunities. They don't want our brothers and sisters going to establishments like Harvard, Harvard and Cornell and all of these different colleges. You understand what I'm saying? So they held us back in so many ways, because those colleges are for legacies, okay, and other opportunities. Jim Crow laws often faced arrests, fines, jail sentences, violence, and death. And we know that the death was lynching. The legal system was stacked against Black citizens with former Confederate soldiers working as police and judges. So when you see those flags flying on the back of those trucks, keep in mind that is their code for saying, I am either a public citizen of assisting with the police or something to that nature. They're definitely a part of the government, or they are a part of, as we say, the pro-police situation with the lynchings that's happening in modern society today. But that is why Confederate flags is so, you have to pay attention to those Confederate flags. If people tell you they're not racist and they own a Confederate flag, that's a problem, because that Confederate flags were for Jim Crow and for the, as it says, working as police and judges, making it difficult for African Americans to win court cases and ensuring they were subject to Black codes. The Codes worked in conjunction with labor camps for incarcerated, for the incarcerated, where prisoners were treated as enslaved people. Now, this is modern day Jim Crow. These are things that I wrote down that if you have any, please add them to the list. Redlining, the new black codes, closing voting booths in black and brown communities, denying loans, which means homes, businesses, all of that, the banks, major banks, entry to higher educational institutions. All of those things are extremely important for us to have so-called American success. And we are locked out of those spaces, and they allow certain people to gain access. Some that gain access that are spooks that sat by the door, it's because they continue to follow through and fought for it. And some are the Uncle Ruckuses. So there's two kind of people that can gain access, but we don't have enough people following through to be able to gain access. That's why we have to create our own spaces. But in order for us to create our own spaces, we got to mentally get ourselves together in our community. And mental health is important to be even trying to gain spaces. That's why they give us so many liquor stores, so many unhealthy businesses, food and different things like that in these desert communities. And you understand what I'm saying? It's all Jim Crow. It's just a new way.
It's a new way to distract. It's a new way to distract us from tackling the fear.
Absolutely.
That we need to abolish.
If you don't say it, oh my gosh, that's it.
You know what I'm saying? That's why because look, the fear lies within the leaders that we've known over the years to be assassinated. My favorite and who I would have saved us is Malcolm X. Once I learned he and man, that's why
I read his book 3 times. Do you understand?
Because he's the only one that was in human rights. That's why Stokely Carmichael was pro him and not so much Martin. Martin woke up later, but they killed Malcolm because he was the biggest threat. They know he was the biggest threat. He the one made it to the United Nations and came back pulling the truth on what it was we want as a people. He represented for us, one man. That's what we're waiting on right now, because we're all fearful collectively to do it, not realizing collectively we are better than the one man. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They can't kill us all at once and then be left with what they consider true. Like my man Boone said, his story. You dig what I'm saying? Because if they kill us off, they're left with his story, and then they left with nothing. Because without us, you ain't gonna have nothing. You're not.
They not like us. They not like us.
Yeah, they not. Yeah, we that.
Yes, That's it, bro. That's it. We have to, and that is what I said early on. But it takes a man to stay it, because this is about y'all, and you have to break that fear. And when you breaking that fear, what that mean? That means that you got to be holding other Black men accountable. Some Black men don't like holding other Black men accountable no more. You know what I'm saying? You got to be holding the youth and the teens accountable on how they moving. That means that more mentorship got to happen. You know what I'm saying? That means that a lot of these brothers that's been out here hustling for so long, that's been on the pavement, that, has changed their life, can't just be no everyday 9-to-5 man. They got to, from 6 to 10, they got to be out there, mentoring young men, or building clubs. And, clubs, when I mean clubs, I mean organizations and different things like that. You know what I'm saying? Or and that's why I'm not bringing women up, because that's a whole nother, like I told you, I got a segment on women. This is all about men. These things has to happen. loving Black women again, and not just meaning your significant other, but actually respecting women and understanding that a lot of women came up with trauma too, where it comes from, you know, like sexual assault and different things. So some of them might act a little weird or different or whatever it may be, but that don't mean that you tear them down and call them ran through or make names up for them or say they done hit the wall. Like, we got to let that stuff go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like we
I
have
agree
to
with
start protecting our homes again. We got these people coming into our homes. When I mean that, I mean our entire community, and they are siphoning everything. They're the ones that's being successful in so many different things that we are creating. It's the same system from back in the day when our ancestors was making all of these different, inventing all of these different things, and who was getting the patent and putting their name on it. Don't get me started out here now. This is what this
the thing.
platform is for. You know what I'm saying? So the number one thing is holding our brothers accountable, women holding men accountable and having standards, men holding men accountable, men holding the youth accountable, us building platforms where we allow each other to be in a vulnerable space and not judge them, especially our men, allowing our men to be vulnerable. Boom. What are the best steps for men to take to become more vulnerable and free from unhealthy ego attachments? What is it like? What are the steps that you can, and you know what, men that's out there, that, because you guys honestly are some amazing brothers, and just y'all conversation alone, you understand what I'm saying? There's some men that I know that's watching like, dang, they probably watching like, man, I know this dude from back in the day. He used to hustle, or he used to be this and that, and listen to him. Like, this is what goes on. And even if they don't share that with you, I call it a monitoring spirit, but but at the end of the day, this monitoring spirit probably is taking something from you, and hopefully it will help their lives, because y'all got God on y'all. You understand? So ain't nothing coming through. You understand?
Okay, well,
Y'all
Okay.
go.
My
Go.
thing is that first off, man, I mean, dealing with us as men is mainly, man, keep God first. A lot of things that hold us back is pride. You know what I'm saying? If we would learn to like let pride go, and you know what I'm saying, and we envy a lot of the things that we one another do. We hate on each other. You know what I'm saying? If we was to come together, you know what I'm saying, first off in the community, I think that's one of the main big steps for us growing as a unity, you know what I'm saying, in our community as being Black men. And like you said, dealing with our Black women, most definitely uplift our Black women, you know what I'm saying, uplift our Black women to the point that they can teach the young ladies that's underneath them, you know what I'm saying. So and breaking them generational curses, like you said, them curses, those are things that kept us bounded, you know, we stuck in boundary, you know what I'm saying. And once we break those old generational curses and the things that kept us bound, to be totally honest, that's the only way that we gonna be able to get ahead, to be totally honest on that one. That's the only
Okay.
way.
Thank you for that. Okay, Markayla, what's your thoughts?
Well, my thought is just to be an example. So I'll, opposed to just answering the question, I'll do this for those who are watching. Breaking generational curses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brother Boom, I don't know you from Adam, you dig? It is a very positive, inspirational thing inspiring thing that you are doing. So for the viewers that are watching, as an example, to my fellow brother, for this to start off as a trend and end up as a lifestyle, to get back to what we was doing, Brother Boone, I love you, my brother.
Yes.
From depths of the beginning of this conversation to our ancestors, right back to this topic.
That
So
just did something to my spirit.
And I can say, love you
so
more.
that should be that. I appreciate that, and that's all on the real. Black man real.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So
I don't just say it just because it sounds good. That's for real.
I'm dead serious on the real, because see,
I know you are.
I love loving my brothers that I don't know, because it's expected for you to do that with those that you do know. That's our safe place. Notice how we don't know each other. When we see each other is we still, to this day, I'm 50 years old. We still, to this day, standoffish, looking us up and down, scared to do our lazy, what's up? Scared to even do that. The head nod. We scared to do that. You know what I mean? It then went from this to this now. We pounding now. I mean, I pound all the time. I mean, I can use the cleanliness next to godliness as an excuse. I could do that all day. But I grew up being showed the handshake, the black man handshake where it don't stop. And now it's moved from that to this. I like the lean in with the hug. You dig?
You know, that's my thing right there. And I'm a woman.
I used to be a brother that didn't like to touch. I just didn't trust men, and you know what I'm saying? I just didn't like to touch. But now I've grown out of that. I gotta love my fellow brother. That's our problem, because it all plays a part in that pause shit. I don't like it either. I don't like it either, because it plays it still takes shots at the gay community.
That's not grown at all. Yeah, just all that.
Pause, no homo, and all. Like, come on, man. Like, y'all grow up, man. And men can't have conversation with men and not worry about having are you crazy? Like, come on, man. Let's grow up, man. For real. I'm not in my 20s no more, man. You know what I mean? I'm half a century.
I say that a lot. You get a lot of people especially grown men, you know what I'm saying? I think it's just a maturity type thing, man. People won't accept, you know what I'm saying, that you got to grow up sometime. I mean, I tell my kids all the time, I'm not going to dress like you because I'm not your age. I'm not about to walk around with no skinny jeans on and I'm going to look like a man. I'm not going to walk around with no merce or whatever it is that they wear.
Not a merce.
They call them a merce or whatever they call them. I think men are meant to be men. And the thing is, if we walking around as grown men, been 40 and 50 years old, and we looking like the generation of today with skinny jeans on, they're not going to take us serious. You know what I'm saying? When we trying to stand up there and try to push our community to be better than what we are now. I mean, I just look at it like, we need to stand up, not only just stand up as being men, we need to look like men. We need to act like men. We need to change our mindset. Like the Bible said, when I was a child, I thought as a child, and I put away those childish things. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, we need to put away those childish things and walk into what we are meant and what we're called to be. You know what I'm saying? I put that in my sons all the time, because I tell them, one day I'm not going to be there. Somebody got to keep it going on. I want to be to the point I'm in a wheelchair and I'm seeing my grandson walking around with a purse and he wearing heels. You know what I'm saying? And it's us. It's like they watering us down, man. If I look at our community, I see more gay black men than I see gay white men. You know what I'm saying? And they watering us down, that we not meant to be that way.
Yep. Because they keep pushing that narrative and everything, but you don't see that in even a lot of films that is for the majority. You don't. They actually have a whole different level and different perspective of movies and music and different things. But with us, it's like everything has got to have some type of that in it. Like it's okay. Let me. That's a whole different conversation. We're gonna get off of that, guys. This was so freaking amazing. I totally appreciate you guys. Like I couldn't even ask for a better conversation. Like for real. Like we touched on a lot of stuff, okay? And we did stay focused on what we were also supposed to stay focused on, and that's mental health. in our community. And we also discussed the policing and how it also, we discussed the policing and how it plays a role in anxiety, depression, trauma, all of that. We also discussed ways that we could try to unify. We discussed ways that we could try to fix things. We discussed accountability. So the people that actually watch this is going to get a lot out of this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add on my YouTube page a bunch of resources for people to be able to go click on, chime, and and kind of like connect with Black mental health groups. Maybe some of these video clips, if you want to dive deeper into some of the clips that I had, and some of the information, if you want to dive deeper into like a lot of the different information that I showed on the banner, which all of that was actual information that is out there. So I was showing true statistics and talking true statistics. Nothing that I said was, when it came to that, was things that I was being opinionated about. And what I want to do now before we get out of here, there's a gentleman by the name of Harry Bullock. I don't know if y'all know him, but Harry Bullock is a artist and he has a song called Heavy. He is from Flint, Michigan. He is a man of God and he is a rapper and he has been through a lot. And shout out to him for because he continues to show his journey on, he was an alcoholic and he has been in counseling, and now he's showing his entire journey of how he got delivered and how he is a new man because of God during all of his, alcoholism, and all of that. He has been restored. And so I felt like it was no better person to take us out but him for the show. And before I do that, any last minute thoughts, guys? The next one is Our Next Generation is Next. And I got that from Am I Next? Because that is what they're trying to do. They're indoctrinating our children, the same as when you heard the young lady on Roland Martin talking about a lot of the white women, because there are way more white women that are teachers than anything. And not taken away from white teachers, because shout out to and respectfully rest in peace, Miss Ehrlich. She was from Southwestern and she taught me a lot. She was the person that helped me into learning how to actually express myself through writing. She was my English teacher, but she was a white lady. And times is different now, though, when it comes to teaching. But with that being said, parents are trusting their children into going to these schools and not knowing who's teaching them and who is, responsible for them during certain periods of time, and trusting the character of this person. And that's one of the things that she was trying to get at, because there's a lot of hatred that goes on in the medical field, in schools, or whatever it may be when it comes to us. So the youth is the next thing that I'm tackling in the adultification, which is these young girls who are being tried as adults, whether it's they're trying to lower the age limit to like 14. I don't know if a lot of you know, especially with Black girls, not just to be tried as an adult, but for men to be able to see them sexually as an adult. So that'll be a different story with the women. But for the young men, we're going to be talking about how the police is using them as acting like they're men, grown men, the way they're handling them and the way that they're lynching them. And they are like 11 years old and some are 10. So I'm going to be showing that. unfortunately, that's going to be heavy. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. That will be after, I'll be putting that date together, but it'll be on a Wednesday and it'll be after Father's Day for sure. And, you know, probably the very end of this month. Last minute thoughts, Mr. Boone.
Last minute thoughts. I mean, it was very interesting to me, especially it caused me to really think off into some things, that I actually almost really forgot, something about it made me dig off into like the history of who we are as a people, and it made me really want to just go off into studying a little bit more too as well, dealing where we've been,
Yeah.
and and where we going, where we came from. It made me think, some of the things you said made me think about, the things we went through as slavery, dealing with gator bait, on how they used to kidnap the 2 and 3 year olds and tie ropes around them and put them on the swamp and stuff. They used that as bait to grab some whole alligators and stuff like that. I mean, we went through a lot, as being Black people. And so I think as all the things that we went through as being Black, we should be most definitely one of the strongest, if not the strongest people standing. We should most definitely stick together, man. Because I mean, dealing with slavery and they made sport of, and just little things, that's subliminal messages, that things that we went through in life, like picnic, so that was supposed to be short for pick a nigga, stuff like that, man. There's a whole bunch of things that's hidden that a lot of us don't really know about, that we say that we stand by today. And if we really educate ourselves, we'll know, how to live, and we'll probably even treat each other better than what we treat each other. Like they said, if you want to hide, high information from a Black man, put it in the book.
That's true. I
So
totally agree with that.
we just need to educate each other more.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Markayla. Last minute thoughts on the show. What did you get out of it? What kind of touched you as far as you feeling like, okay, maybe I need to dig a more deeper into, kind of what Elder Boone was saying. Hello? You're not on mute. I don't know what's happening. Oh, there you go. I can hear it now. I don't hear you though.
Yeah, I don't hear him either.
Oh, I hear you. Wait, what's happening? Say something. Nope. And your mic is not muted, so I don't know. Go out and come back in real fast. See if that's it. Okay. So he's gonna go out and come back in real fast. But what I want to say is, which I've been talking a lot, I know, and I apologize but y'all got me hyped. One of the biggest things that I took from you, and I'll share with Markayla what I took from him. Perfect. Okay, hold on. Say something, bro.
I can hear you
Yay.
now.
All right.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, one of the things I took from Markayla, I don't know how to, I don't like that. Okay. One of the things I took from you, Mr. Boone, I'll share what I took from y'all conversation. I love the fact, and what I took from you is you actually coming from humble beginnings and, understanding so much of, like you said, you came from a truly broken home, and, you found something in you that continue to allow you to want to help others and want to be the best, even if you didn't see that around you. You know, that's that strength, that formidable strength and tenacity within. And that's also God that shows that you were always chosen, because God always had a hand on you. And that was the reason. Some people, they have to be in environments of, in order for them to do things for others, or they're either in an environment of impoverished conditions and they be like that, or you can be in an environment of impoverished conditions, and something within you want more and want to see others with more. So you were definitely a light for your conditions, and that just shows that you'll be able to assist in helping to build our community and make it better. And Markayla, before you talk, I want to share with you, I know your story and you have been through some things that some people never come back from. You know what I'm saying? When I say that, I mean traumatically. Like there's people that, you know, just could not be strong enough to handle a lot of different things that you may have seen, encountered, been through, whether it was family, friends, in your own situations, you know. And you left, you reinvented yourself, and you built something that is amazing, because you're giving a space and you're giving information and you're helping people to develop themselves creatively through their talents when it comes to whatever it is that you're teaching them, you know. And they'll be able to, your legacy, because they'll be able to continue with everything that you taught them, and then they teach, and then it goes on like that. So for you to be able to assist to make our community better, it's that teaching and that develop, the way that you are able to tap within somebody and bring out their creative bring out their creativeness, for them to continue on and you know, and show the work that was your foundation, is amazing. You know what I'm saying? And I see it, and I love you, just know that. Okay, so so go ahead and finish off about what are the things that you pretty much took from this conversation, because that's what I call it, conversation.
Right. Coming to what seemed like a solution for the conditions of our community, bringing up those topics as ideas, where if one is watching and we spark, like Tupac says, I may not change the world, but I'll spark the brain.
That's
and change
right.
the world.
Yes.
So for the viewers, they could possibly beat us to the punch with the ideas that we've sparked through conversation. You know what I'm saying? And then to acquire a bit of familiarity with another young brother of like mind. Dig what I'm saying? From now a different region. You know what I'm saying? Well,
Yeah.
same region, but we're
Yeah.
in different regions.
Yeah.
We're all from Michigan. You know what I mean?
Y'all need to connect too. Y'all need to get y'all connect on, you know, just talk outside of here, maybe connect and share each other's socials, because y'all both on the same, y'all both definitely, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, but yeah, it felt like it was a major group in here.
Yeah.
With the last two.
Yeah.
Type of deal. It felt like it was a major.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, I'm satisfied. Like I am
with the conversation. Yeah.
Y'all came with it. And that's what it's about, because y'all was passionate. Y'all came with it. Y'all had solutions. Y'all talked, shared your heart. That's y'all was in vulnerable positions, and y'all share, you know, in man, and I love it and I appreciate it. And both of y'all came through as far as, I mean, came from humble beginnings, you know, came from the grind. You know what I'm saying? And look at y'all. I love it. Okay. Well, thank you. Yes. Thank you
Okay,
once
now wait,
again.
before you
Huh?
finish,
Go ahead.
we
Finish.
didn't answer. We did not answer a question.
Oh,
It was one
what
question we
was
didn't
it?
answer.
What was it,
It
bro?
was
I know
about
you got.
what would women need to do, Black women need to do for us.
Oh, now you want to bring that back up. I just deleted all the questions too. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh wow.
What? I'm just,
Look, you gave the
no, I'm
answer
just
though.
kidding. No, but honestly,
you gave the answer.
Oh yeah,
An
sure.
example.
okay.
And when you gave us props and you said you love us,
Oh, for sure.
That's what we need right there.
Oh,
Because
y'all almost made me
one,
cry, man. I
Martin
had to
had
be
one.
like, yeah.
Yeah. All the strong Black men that
You
protected
know
us
what?
and died for us, they all had women.
And you know what? They had wise women. Nowadays, a lot of men look at more of the looks, the body, the build, and it's more of a Samson Delilah thing than it is looking at someone that you actually could build with on a wisdom level and still have a lot of the things that you want. And it doesn't have to be, she doesn't have to have the best build, the best face, but she should be attractive to you in some way, of course, and vice versa. But we have to look at wisdom and how somebody can add value into our lives. And if we're sharing the same major values, that's important. And a lot of people don't look at that. And I will stay single as long as I need to in order for me to find that man who at least have the same similar mindset and values, because I know what I can bring to the table. And that's making sure that he is going to be a man. He's going to feel like a man. He's going to understand that I am allowing him the opportunity to be who he's supposed to be, on top of helping him into creating whatever God wants us to create to make a difference in our community. That's important to me. That's why I'm not with all of this extra stuff when it comes to, you know, and I'm not hard on me. And people say I'm hard because I'm over 50 and I'm not, and I'm single. I just know what I want, and I ask God to show me and to allow me the opportunity to open up my heart when he comes, so that I know that it's coming from God. So that's important to me. But I
that's
love,
what you need, not what you want, baby. That's what you need, not what
that's
you
right.
want. What we luxury.
That's right. That's right. And I love my brothers and I respect my brothers, and I'm always here for my brothers. And I just want sisters to please start supporting. You know, it's so important that women start watching these type of shows and videos and seeing the heart of these men, and understanding that there are brothers out there that really, really want to make a difference. And with that, I'm going to take us out because I feel like that was a good segue. So we're going to go with Harry Bullock featuring Naisha Marie and Hearts Get Heavy. Y'all stick around, listen to the song, or if you log off, check it out as you are watching the show. Okay. Love y'all and mean it. Thank you for everyone that's viewing the show, that's going to watch the replay, all of that. We will have resources that will be in our YouTube page, and I'll also put it on our Facebook page. But I appreciate everybody who showed their face, that shows some love. And thank you once again. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Remember about this YouTube channel, baby.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'll resend you the link.
Reason.
I got you.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on. Where's my song? Oh, I know what's wrong. There we go. Okay, here we go.
Hearts get heavy. I would be lying if my heart ain't heavy. I done lost so many people, feel the pain when the mind ain't ready. So I bow down and run to the king. He said, Harry, let me be honest. You come with me, you gon' go through some things. Through this pain, I discovered the truth. I had died in the flesh. When I speak, my testimony is proof. Legendary when I spit conflict. Best believe me when I tell you that they ain't spitting no bars like this. Dear mama, it's your son right now. When I was misguided and misled, it was your spirit that showed me how. Man up and put it all on the chin. Stand strong and be humble. The spirit of God above all men. God has commanded me to learn all 10. When I walk, I don't just talk the blood of my people. It speaks through my pen. Walk the open road that journeys within. Through the hunger set aside from the pain that creates my sin. Learning life, you only lose in the win. I've been walking through the dark. I'm trying to see it through a clear view lens. Enemies I used to call my friends. When I learned a valuable lesson in life that people love to pretend. Bite the hand people love to extend. Though we started at the bottom, we'll be headed to the top when it ends. Break the chain that holds in my rage. I'm the lion you can't tame. I'm the beast that you just can't cage. From the cradle till there's dirt on my grave. I'll be standing in the shadows abundantly as I pray with the slaves. Walk a million miles with blood on my shoes. If I never knew love, I'd never have a situation to lose. When hearts get heavy. When hearts get heavy, heavy, heavy. I would be lying if the truth wasn't in me. I ain't worried about the gossip, I'm a prophet, so it doesn't offend me. Few are chosen in the land of many. Come to men, the broken hearted, sending love through the pain in my city. Throw up your praise if you rockin' it with me. On a mission, God has sent me with the message, so they'll never forget me. Mad love, yo, but I ain't friendly. See the devil coming, I fall to my knees and let the spirit defend me. See, there's pressure with every word I speak, taking me to another peak. Living accountability, spiritual is my destiny. Devil won't get the best of me, lyrics flowing so heavily. Destination is heavenly, drifting upon a melody. Dealing with what they telling me, won't these demons just let me be? Living up in this poverty, taking me where depression be. Every day like it's drowning me, fighting to keep my head up. I'm setting spiritual boundaries, maybe because I'm fed up. On a mission and witness to witness this benediction. Repented, I paid dues while walking through mental prison. The Father, I pray you listen and working on my condition and keep me covered in blood. I'm dug in my transition and journey my way through Michigan just to put my petition in. One of the coldest ever to do it. I pray you listen and the stars fall, we shine together. No matter the endeavor, put in work like it's now or never. Broke the pen just to write this letter. We can speak 1,000 words, yet the fact remains that actions are better. Broke in the ghetto just to hang with the slums. Heard a knock up on my door, that's how it is when opportunities come. Learn to never switch on my day ones. Had a snake watching my plate, that's how I learned about recoupable funds. Living to die because the world ain't ready. Dirty up early on the journey, my condolences. When hearts get heavy, journey my way to Michigan. When Father, I pray you listen and heavy, heavy, heavy. When hearts get heavy.
You know what? Before I get off, I just want to shout out IG. IG came through. Thank you so much once again, Pastor Tracy, The Only Statement, Booyah Jared, D33DS_5, The Real Kumite, Love Yours 12, I Am Rich Cole. Shout out. Thank you so much, all you guys. I'm just getting back on IG and I appreciate the love. Thank you. And you guys now have a blessed night. Bye.